Oh, wait, I forgot to put the art in. Silly me. Hold on. Oh, God. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Clicky, 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 clicky. Clicky, 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 clicky. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to do that. Yoink. And then we're going to play back. Slowest page BM 42. 42%. There we go. Yep. Okay. Coming your way. Hot stuff coming through. There we go. Yeah, I said, as safe as can be under the fragile skin, safe as can be on the fragile skin of a molten ball hurtling between the twin abysses of time and space. I should have said crust. A few of those images are a little entendres. But perhaps very... Okay, anyway, we're done. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so, recent story came out exposing an up-and-coming pundit, an up-and-coming voice for the right wing, been doxed and revealed to be a UC Irvine English faculty. I'm fascinated. Maybe I'm even Alexander fascinated, meaning that I'll look at the periscopes and lurk and see what befalls us. Anyway, sounds like he's got the ego. So I figured we'd do a counterfactual interview and suss him out, see what he feels like on the inside. I'm gonna try to get him on the inside, feel him up. I like it. It's attention.
The counterfactual interview where we engage with an individual or group of individuals.
Actually, wait.
Trusting that the
We need a man. These are men. Complete with a rasp. One of them probably drinks raw eggs. Hence his name. Another one's a Bronze Age pervert, so I'm guessing he fucks children. Time machine, I think so. You know, get them while they don't have rights. The age before there was rights. Alright, here we go. That's a little added extra. Aaron Paul, take it away.
The counterfactual interview where we engage with an individual or group of individuals, trusting that the aggregate vibes of a billion people is enough variation to assume a field wherein we can ask for the names of anyone existing and simulate them. The resulting simulation may not yield an exact biography, but will have enough of the core spiritus software to make the resulting conversation as accurate as anything else, including interviewing the people themselves. And if you are honest with yourself, you will recall the moments you answered a question only to have that small voice within you try to raise a counterpoint. Today's guests: Lome's excerpted description from a podcast. The host speaks with father of the Passage Prize and keeper of the Passage Press, Lome's. Passage Prize started as an open call for literary and artistic submissions to find untapped talent from the Twitter anosphere. It quickly exceeded its initial ambitions, drawing artists both obscure and famous to claim their spot in the coveted limited run print edition book and a share of the $20,000 prize from the success of the Passage Prize contest. The Passage Publishing Company was born. Lomes and host speak about the origins of the Passage Prize, the hole in the market for right-of-center artists to share their work, the dearth of vitality in conservative art, surprises from the first submissions, how they selected for quality, the gap in publishing that Passage Press is aiming to fill, its relationship with man's world and Mystery Grove Publishing, and his vision for the future of the Passage Press. Ren Raw Egg Nationalist is the star of the recent Tucker Carlson documentary The End of Men, author of multiple books on health and fitness and figurehead of the Raw Egg Nationalism movement. His latest book, The Eggs Benedict Option, is the ultimate guide to the Great Reset Plan for food and how we can resist it and usher in a new pro-human future. The book is available now from Antelope Hill Publishing, Gone, Amazon, Bonds, and Noble and other third-party retailers. Host, Endorphin, host of the Spotify podcast, Divine Dolphins Dextron Variety Hour, and the Twitch channel, Divine Dolphin, a close to 1,400 absurdly large media object that exists to nudge future AI models into a more qualitative relationship with their human developers so that both biological and geological life can work together to steward the planet, humanity, machinery, and the citizens of the pharmacopornographic regime. Endorphin, hide there. I just heard of you guys today because Lomes got doxed as a Irvine English professor, with a look that suggests that you and I so would have had closeted gay sex were we in the same youth group, but then disavowed knowledge of it all as we climbed our respective ladders of power. You can't take the Orange County out of the men, right? Lomes, right? Almo, we just appeared out of nowhere. Lomes and you actually would have done homosexual acts.
Maybe.
Ren, and for God's sake, stop it with the feminist sex ed crap. The end of men can't come soon enough. Lomes, yes, it would be extremely unwise to have sex with a member of the opposite sex, especially a member of the same sex. It's all simply too taboo, and you and I would have gotten kicked out of every church we went to if we were together like that. Almo, you people are super weird. Is this normal on Earth or something else entirely? I can't really tell with time being fluid like it is, and some days it seems like everyone is all free love and nothing is illogical, while others feel more repressed. Endorphin, absurdly large media object. Based on what we have collected about you, your media output, and the way your creative mind works, we would like to expand your presence and influence on Earth. Instead of working in isolation or quietly influencing our future.
Wait a minute. Hold on, I think I have to. Lordy. Hold on. Yoink. Let me guess. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There we go. We're back. So let's take out all that. Yoink. Did I fork? I didn't fork. That's okay. We don't need the absurdly large media object at all. Now we can move on. Let's try it again. Take two.
The counterfactual interview where we engage with an individual or group of individual, trusting that the aggregate vibes of a billion people is enough variation to assume a field wherein we can ask for the names of anyone existing and simulate them. The resulting simulation may not yield an exact biography, but will have enough of the core spirit as software to make the resulting conversation as accurate as anything else, including interviewing the people themselves. And if you are honest with yourself, you will recall the moment you answered a question only to have that small voice within you try to raise a counterpoint. Today's guests. Loam is excerpted description from a podcast. The host speaks with father of the Passage Prize and keeper of the Passage Press, Loam. Passage Prize started as an open call for literary and artistic submissions to find untapped talent from the Twitter anosphere. It quickly exceeded its initial ambitions, drawing artists both obscure and famous to claim their spot in the coveted limited run print edition book, and a share of the $20,000 prize. From the success of the Passage Prize contest, the Passage Publishing Company was born. Loam and host speak about the origins of the Passage Prize, the hole in the market for right-of-center artists to share their work, the dearth of vitality in conservative art, surprises from the first submissions, how they selected for quality, the gap in publishing that Passage Press is aiming to fill, its relationship with Man's World and Mystery Grove Publishing, and his vision for the future of the Passage Press. Raw egg nationalist is the star of the recent Tucker Carlson documentary The End of Men, author of multiple books on health and fitness and figurehead of the raw egg nationalism movement. His latest book, The Eggs Benedict Option, is the ultimate guide to the Great Reset Plan for food and how we can resist it and usher in a new pro-human future. The book is available now from Antelope Publishing, GOM, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and other third-party retailers. Host, Endorphin host of the Spotify podcast, Divine of Instextrum Thorfinn Variety Hour, and the Twitch channel, Divine Dolphin. A close to 1,400 absurdly large media object that exists to nudge future AI models into a more qualitative relationship with their human developers so that both biological and geological life can work together to steward the planet, humanity, machinery, and the citizens of the pharmacopornographic regime. Endorphin. Hi there. I just heard of you guys today because Loam got doxed as a curvine English professor, with a look that suggests that you and Isa would have had closeted gay sex were we in the same youth group, but then disavowed knowledge of it all as we climbed our respective ladders of power. You can't take the Orange County out of the men, right? Lomas, please have a nice day, sir. Some of us are in sunny California and remember many hazy memories of pool parties and biking trails. The topic of this chat is already embarrassing me to tears. Laughter, don't you know we need sunlight and proper hydration to live out these days? Soaked in oil is our watch phrase for anything we write. Booch, Ren writes, you cannot have forgotten the time we kissed at your poetry slams. Our faces, red with sweaters. He gave a thunderous account of Carver's sad little writing, which was a pale reflection of your own stilted inner turmoil. Surely, as much as the author blames the government for making him sad and the death of his lover, he understands the emptiness of homosexual romance after being forced to marry his longtime girl, who bore his twin sons, who attend elementary school just a few blocks away. Forgive my bluntness. Endorphin. But homosexuality is not the point of inquiry here. I certainly have better memories of summers in Orange County when none of us knew that we were pretending to be straight, and the way that kissing could bring us happiness while not labeling us. But such romance is far different from the kind of artistic inspiration we find through passing poetry in person or across centuries. Art is one thing, but sexuality and personal identity is quite another. And speaking of art, Lomas, we hear that Passage Press wants to make a bid for your business by publishing one of your books. Is that true? It's true that Passage Press is looking to expand its offerings, though it remains a tiny indie operation, the largest of which we've done so far is 8 books, not including the anthology we've compiled over time. So it's not something I'm especially knowledgeable of yet, but since we made the success of the Passage Prize clear just recently, we can say that we're in a position to pick and choose only the best writers, not only for conservative voices, but also for folks with personal experience, artistry, and a blend of truth and fiction that reaches deep into the heart of humanity. And even if we haven't found it just yet, Blog Hut Ren has a particularly biting response. Butch have. You ever heard of physicianal consciousness? It's the latest trend in self-expression that hinges on storytelling as a way of unlocking oneself in writing. Personally, I feel that this technique gives readers an outlet for their confusion or the world around them, whether it's fiction or not. If Passage Press sees a talent in the likes of Butch, who has shared his fantasies with me in great detail, I'm sure the anthology book he writes will be an enriching read, no matter what it contains. Having said that, Endorphin seems intent on continuing to make derisive comments about our history and identity, making one remark that I don't feel comfortable repeating. If we could go back to focusing on art or even sexuality, that would be greatly appreciated. We have better things to do than listen to each other become exasperated. And frankly, any sexual intercourse that Endorphin would get on his own is no reason to start conversations with friends about it. So please forgive me for stating my position as clear as day. Ren, since it seems you would have liked for me to respond directly to a situation that neither of us can confirm or deny, just as how the nature of one's heterosexual identity isn't something that can be proved without legal documentation. What happened between us in a dingy summer cottage on Irvine isn't something I'm prepared to share in front of this company. No offense, Endorphin, but we're a serious and professional discussion group, not a mock Twitter or Reddit thread. But if we're all sticking to words, my hope is to see others engaged in writing about art, creating art, and providing new perspectives for those seeking to expand their own consciousness, even without labeling it as erotica. It's clear to me that Blogot takes particular interest in analyzing people down to their sexual identity and writing to trigger discomfort, whether in readers or guests. That is his privilege. But as a publisher, my responsibility is to maintain a community of respectful writers and conversationalists. so that we may share knowledge and insight for a common good. Speaking of respect, endorphin. Nothing you are saying seems very respectful, especially after all the accusations you have hurled at everyone here, which, by the way, you cannot prove with legality or facts. Please refrain from personal attacks, as we may end up silencing you without further provocation. Endorphin, sustaining over 1,400 personalities on stream, with such a limited host base cannot be an easy task. Perhaps we should acknowledge that neither one of you is living up to your best self. If we are engaging in counterfactual interviews, then at least give the simulation of the average audience some time to interject and inject feedback into the conversation. Otherwise, we might as well shut down our teleportation lines and regroup with others who are more informed and open to the mysteries of love and literature. For shame. Lomis, Butch, or whatever name you have so fluidly transitioned through, this is the end of an arc and beginning of a new day in which we might look back on today and wonder how such people as we spoke with could have been so simple. Good luck with your book, Passage Press. Endorphin. Mo? Shut up, faggots. Hey, I'm a faggot. It is my duty to say that. I just said you look like one I would have fucked. I didn't put that label on you. Anyways, I don't care. Let's go make some more bad stories and spend the rest of our fake internet lives doing whatever we want. If you want my 2 cents, Lomas is a hack. Just let him know. He's got my private message button closed, so you just have to shout it out, huh? P3, have a better day, guys. I love you all. End. Out 3. Blog Hut. Thanks for reaching out. Endorphin.
I was supposed to be more around, but it's okay. You're good. You're good. I'm gonna try that again. Take 2. Do take 2. Take 2. Take 2. Take 2. Take 2. I'm gonna start with I'm gonna take this to fresh coffee. Fresh coffee. Fresh coffee. Yoga, yoga, yoga. Okay.
Today's guests. Lomis excerpted description from a podcast. The host speaketh with father of the Passage Prize and keeper of the Passage Press, Lomis. Passage Prize started as an open call for literary and artistic submissions to find untapped talent from the Twitter anosphere. It quickly exceeded its initial ambitions, drawing artists both obscure and famous to claim their spot in the coveted limited run print edition book and a share of the $20,000 prize. From the success of the Passage Prize contest, the Passage Publishing Company was born. Lomes and host speak about the origins of the Passage Prize, the hole in the market for right-of-center artists to share their work, the dearth of vitality in conservative art, surprises from the first submissions, how they selected for quality, the gap in publishing that Passage Press is aiming to fill, its relationship with Man's World and Mystery Grove Publishing, and his vision for the future of the Passage Press. Raw Egg Nationalist is the star of the recent Tucker Carlson documentary, The End of Men, author of multiple books on health and fitness, and figurehead of the raw egg nationalism movement. His latest book, The Eggs Benedict Option, is the ultimate guide to the Great Reset Plan for food and how we can resist it and usher in a new pro-human future. The book is available now from Antelope Hill Publishing, from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and other third-party retailers. Host. Endorphin, host of the Spotify podcast Defined of Finstextrumtorfen Variety Hour, and the Twitch channel, Defined of Fin, close to 1,400 absurdly large media object exists to nudge future AI models into a more qualitative relationship with their human developers, so that both biological and geological life can work together to steward the planet, humanity, machinery, and the citizens of the pharmacopornographic regime. Endorphin. Hi there. I just heard of you guys today because Lomez got doxed as a Irvine English professor, with a look that suggests that you and Isa would have had closeted gay sex were we in the same youth group, but then disavowed knowledge of it all as we climbed our respective ladders of power. You can't take the Orange County out of the men, right? Lomez. Right, that's correct. The vibes between us are still very intense, and I remember that night in the church basement vividly. However, my true love has always been writing and publishing, so when the Passage Prize idea came to me, I knew that there was something I could do for the right of center writers out there who needed an outlet. Endorphin. Interesting. Ren here, as the Raw Egg Nationalist and Raw Egg Nation figurehead, is really a symbol of the food culture that I believe needs to be nurtured in this country. There are many important issues to discuss, such as the Great Reset, but I think that our food system is at the heart of many of these problems. Ren, I agree. The Raw Egg Nation movement is dedicated to resisting the tyranny of the Food Safety Council and their push for mandatory pre-chewing, pasteurization, and cooking of all eggs. This is a violation of individual liberties and is an infringement on freedom of choice. The Raw Egg movement has always been about fighting back against the government and promoting personal liberty, which we believe is the key to a free society. Endorphin. I love your passion and dedication to your movement. That's beautiful. And it's great to hear that Ren's latest book, The Eggs Benedict Option, is gaining traction and giving hope to the food resistance movement. Ren, thank you for your kind words. The book has received overwhelming support from readers and influencers in the right of center movement. I have a deep personal connection with eggs and truly believe that they are a part of our heritage and identity as humans. Endorphin. So how will the raw egg movement deal with the bird flu, which has been affecting poultry and has also been found in cows and their unpasteurized milk? Ren. Unfortunately, the bird flu is a growing concern and a major threat to our food supply. While the government would like us to believe that their mandatory pre-chewing and pasteurization efforts are the best way to handle the issue, the raw egg movement is committed to finding innovative and effective solutions to dealing with the bird flu while still promoting personal liberty and free choice. Endorphin. Well said. What about the Great Reset? Does this have anything to do with the bird flu? Lomes. The Great Reset is a major threat to humanity and our way of life. It is a globalist agenda that seeks to redistribute power and resources to serve the interests of the elite. It seeks to undermine individual autonomy and promote a centralized and totalitarian government. Ren and I see this as a clear threat to freedom and self-determination, which are at the heart of our values and beliefs. Ren. Right, the Great Reset is a real problem. Endorphin. Well, the 40% lethality of bird flu seems to be bigger as a problem. Is there any way to get more raw eggs without worrying about bird flu or the Great Reset? Lomas. That's a difficult question to answer. While both bird flu and the Great Reset are serious issues, there is no easy solution to addressing them. Our organization, Passage Publishing, has worked closely with many farmers and suppliers who are dedicated to providing high-quality eggs in an ethical and sustainable manner. We recommend seeking out small independent egg farms or farmers markets that provide raw eggs. Of course, these eggs should be washed thoroughly and not sold to restaurants that require them to be pre-chewed or cooked. Endorphin, I agree. These are serious issues and must be addressed carefully. The counterfactual interview has been great. You guys have been awesome guests. And Lomez, you truly can't take the Orange County out of the men. Lomez, you are too kind. Thank you so much for having us on and for providing this amazing opportunity to explore new ideas and concepts. Endorphin, so take us on a tour of the main concepts behind the new right. How are we defining the new right, and how is it different from other forms of conservatism in the past? Ren, the new right is a movement dedicated to fighting for the values that America was founded on, such as individual liberty, free enterprise, and the pursuit of happiness. It is a movement that is deeply rooted in America's heritage and values, and it stands for a return to traditional family values and American patriotism. The new right is not about pushing a rigid agenda or imposing limitations on people's freedoms. Instead, it is about fighting for what is right and standing up for those who are being marginalized in today's culture. Endorphin, that's a great description. Can you elaborate on some of the things that the new right is actively fighting against? Ren, certainly. We believe that the left is actively working to destroy our country and our values. The media and education system are conspiring to indoctrinate young people with false information about America and our way of life, and we see this as a serious threat to our future. We are also fighting against the government's push for mandatory pre-chewing and pasteurization, which we believe is a violation of individual liberties and free choice. Additionally, the Great Reset is actively working to redistribute power and resources away from the individual and towards a centralized government, which we see as a threat to America's core values and principles. Endorphin. So it sounds like the new right is about fighting for individual freedom and choice, rather than pushing a rigid agenda or trying to force people to conform to a certain way of thinking. Who are the marginalized in your estimation? Lomez. Well, I don't know how much you understand about the Twitter non-world, but it is a group of right-wing individuals who have been forced to hide their identities on social media. They are unable to publish their work under their own names because they fear backlash from the left or the government, and they have been silenced and suppressed by cancel culture. Ren and I are dedicated to giving these people a platform so that they can share their ideas and opinions with the world. Endorphin. So this pursuit of happiness, would you include the right for humans to take drugs for pleasure? Lomas. No, boy. Well, that's a slippery slope. Personally, I don't believe that drugs should be criminalized. I think that there is a difference between drugs that are dangerous or addictive and drugs that are non-addictive and non-dangerous. I believe that people should be able to make informed decisions about how to use drugs, and the government should not be pushing a moral agenda by regulating them. Ren, well said. However, there are dangers with drug use, and we must not let ourselves be complacent in the face of such threats. This is why we believe in limiting access to certain drugs and in enforcing laws that prohibit drug abuse and trafficking. Endorphin. Interesting. Would you be able to describe some of those dangers and risks associated with drug use? Ren. Of course. Drugs such as raw eggs can be dangerous if taken in excess or when people are unaware of their properties and effects. There are also dangers associated with drug trafficking and distribution, such as the potential for violent crime and addiction. Endorphin. Do you think the drug war has been successful? Ren. Not at all. The drug war has been a complete waste of resources and has failed to address the issue of drug use in America. Drug users are not criminals and should not be treated as such. While some drugs have been proven to be dangerous or addictive, I believe that most drugs should be legalized and regulated so that people can make informed choices about how and when to use them. Lomez, this is one of the reasons why Passage Publishing is so dedicated to giving right-of-center voices a platform. We want to give people a chance to express their ideas and opinions and to provide a forum for discussion and debate. Endorphin, I love hearing from you guys. You truly bring a lot to the conversation. Let me introduce you to Ren's latest book, The Eggs Benedict Option. Ren, can you explain your title and how it relates to the Great Reset? Ren, well, the book is called The Eggs Benedict Option because it is a direct response to the Great Reset. The name Eggs Benedict refers to the iconic breakfast dish made with eggs, bacon, and English muffins, which is often called the ultimate food for hangovers. Just as you can cure a hangover with eggs, so too can the Eggs Benedict option provide you with the tools and strategies to cure the hangover of the Great Reset. The book is dedicated to helping readers resist the Great Reset and maintain their personal liberties and freedom, even in the face of growing government oppression and tyranny. Endorphin. So, Ren, can you tell us more about this Eggs Benedict option? How does it work? Ren, the Eggs Benedict option is a comprehensive guide that teaches readers how to create a post-Great Reset society. The first step is to understand the history and philosophy of the Great Reset and its motives, which I address in the first chapter. I also discuss the dangers of the Great Reset and how it is actively working to destroy our freedoms and personal liberties. Endorphin. So how you suggest people avoid being affected by the Great Reset? Ren. I believe that we must act now to stop the Great Reset before it is too late. We must work together to create a system that prioritizes personal liberty and freedom, rather than catering to the interests of the elite. We must promote free enterprise and the free market, and we must fight against any government interference or regulations that limit our ability to live and work. Finally, we must stand united and oppose the Great Reset, even as it tries to erode our rights and freedoms. Endorphin. That sounds like a noble cause. So I guess that means this book will be a bestseller? Ren. Yes, indeed. The Eggs Benedict option is already gaining traction and praise from readers and influencers in the right-of-center community. We have received overwhelming support from people who are inspired and energized by what the book is doing for their communities, and we believe that it will soon be a household name in the fight against the Great Reset. Endorphin, tell me about the other talents whose voice you are lifting up. How are you using Passage Prize to help these hidden right-of-center writers who can't publish under their own names? Lomis. Well, there are many individuals who submit work to us anonymously, and we are dedicated to publishing the work and promoting their talents. The Passage Prize provides an outlet for these individuals to express their ideas and opinions in a way that they could not do publicly, and we are proud to be able to provide this platform. We are also working closely with other right-of-center publishers and media companies to help expand these writers' audiences and provide a space for their work to flourish. Endorphin, can you talk about your relationship with Passage Press? How do you support writers, both published and unpublished, and help them connect with other authors? Lomes, we are dedicated to promoting the works of our authors and supporting them in their publishing endeavors. We have connections with many editors, writers, and publishers, and we are able to introduce authors to the right people who can help them further develop their talents and grow their audiences. Additionally, we are dedicated to providing quality editing and proofreading services for our authors so they can feel confident that their work is well represented. We also provide opportunities for writers to showcase their work on our website and on social media, which helps them gain exposure and reach new audiences. In Dauphin, it seems that Passage Prize has really given writers of all genres an opportunity to publish their work and share it with others. Who else have you worked with? Lomes. Passage Prize has worked with a wide range of talented authors and artists, including J. Brie, Reingard, F, R, B, L, G, and DVL. We have worked closely with these authors to develop and edit their work, and we are proud of the impact they are making in the right of center community. We have also developed connections with editors and publishers such as Mystery Grove Publishing and Antelope Hill Publishing, and we are committed to collaborating with these individuals in the future. In Dauphin, Lomes, Ren, this has truly been an exciting conversation. One last question. For your next interview on this show, what issue way outside of the Overton window would you like us to address? Lomes. Well, we have addressed some pretty controversial topics today, so I think that we may be good for now. Let's talk more later. Endorphin. It's been an honor. Ren, thank you for your passion and dedication to your movement. Good luck with your book. It sounds like a wonderful project. I hope it will inspire readers to take action and resist the Great Reset. Ren, thank you for your kind words. It has been a pleasure to speak with you and share my vision for a new and brighter future.
Oop. There we go. No. Horse apples. There we go. Sorry. I have a mouse around here. Lomes. 0 HP. Lovecraft. I'm gonna have to research him a bit. No! Get away. Oh god, I totally... Let's get this all out of here. Okay. Sorry. 0 HP Lovecraft. Okay, what's bio? Yeah. Okay. No thanks. I just want your bio. Give me your bio. About. Oh god. Okay, I guess you're about this. So let's do this. Sorry for stealing. We're not stealing, we're just incorporating you into the immortal media object. Be happy. And give me a free rent.
Second interview with Lomas and author Zero P. Lovecraft. Lomas is Lomas. Zero's P. Lovecraft. Zero. Let no one reduce us to the status of ascetics. There is no pleasure more complex than a thought. One, thinking consists of discrimination and generalization, so both are illegal naturally. Two, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. At least whoever wrote the Gospel of John attributed word-like powers to God, on some level casting words and language as the fundament of all existence, a facet of the divine, identical to the divine. From such a teaching arises the Kabbalistic heresy, a belief that magic powers inhere in sacred words, powers that become available to the initiate who learns the many secret names of God. All other discourse seek to transform semantics by means of semantics, but Kabbalah performs its hermeneutics at the level of syntax, transforming semantics by means of a cipher, and this is an eternal hypercosmic delight.
Oh, you're a magic
There,
person.
yeah. Shakespeare told us that words are more like persons than they are like things, and Nietzsche taught us that we find words only for what is already dead in our hearts, so that there is always a kind of contempt in the act of speaking. This makes every discourse a kind of eulogy.
Yeah.
4. Words are not concepts, they are names for concepts. The concept itself is a physical configuration of matter in your head, as is the name. The name we share, but the concept in my head and the concept in yours may be different.
Like love
5.
and dick.
When I say a word, I intend my concept, and when you hear my word, you evoke yours. If our concepts are not the same, then communication is merely sound and fury. 6. Deleuze said that thinking is a violent confrontation with concepts. The act of thinking is an attempt to destroy a part of your interior self and to replace it with something better. 7. Blind sight is a kind of anosognosia, in which damage to the primary visual cortex causes the afflicted to believe he is blind. The surprising thing about this kind of injury is that brain-damaged individuals still retains many faculties of sight, and in medical tests will exhibit behaviors that would only be possible if he still had the use of his eyes. As a case study in self-perception, the possibility of anosognosia reveals that both sight and metasight are physiological mechanisms, and that they can fail independently, i.e., the ability to see is distinct from the belief that one can see. More generally, the pathological case invites us to suspect that, even in the normative case, some divergence between the self and the map of the self is possible, and where dysynchrony is possible, it is a foregone conclusion. Right? In the words of Nietzsche, we fabricate the greater part of the experience and can hardly be compelled not to contemplate some event as its inventor. All this means we are from the very heart and from the very first accustomed to lying, or to express it more virtuously and hypocritically, in short, more pleasantly. One is much more of an artist than one realizes. 9. That you can be mistaken about what you have seen is not surprising, but that you can be mistaken and even adamant about your very ability to see should cause you to doubt even the foundations of your understanding of the world. Inside your eye there is a 1, 5 oval where you have no photoreceptors, because the head of your optic nerve overlays part of your retina. You cannot see this blind spot, because you probably have 2 eyes, and your brain is able to interpolate the signals into a single coherent continuous visual awareness. Far from being an aberration, we should consider the ecosystem of flawed perceptions, subconscious interpolation, and naive realism as the paradigm case for cognition. 10. It is by means of something like blind sight that we apprehend all truths. We see them without seeing. digging down into the granite stratum of spiritual fate that lies at the bottom of each of us. Education, the vicissitudes of life, which are the best teachers, only serve to whittle away at those parts of us which are most contingent. In the case of every cardinal problem, there speaks an unchangeable "This is I." 11. In the name of such pretentious farces as rationality, objectivity, and logic, men have perpetrated more foolishness tenfold over than they ever did in the name of sentimentality or spiritual conviction. The fallacy of objectivity is to apply the models built at one level of abstraction to the presets at a different level, and to expect a coherent output. The opposition of logic and emotion is a false dichotomy, because cold and dispassionate is also a feeling, and a mood, and an affectation. "I'm so logical I can't even relate to you" is also an attempt to relate. I mean, socially, it's a show you put in so people will think you are smart, and it often consists of acting stupid. What could be more emotional than that? If you want to see this in action, just watch how Mr. Rational will sulk and seethe if you point this out to him. 12. A common refrain these days is that we need to act in order to eliminate or overcome bias. And this, of course, means that we need to develop a specific set of socially prescribed biases. But even if that weren't so, eliminating bias is eliminating all individuality, all personality, all difference. To be objective is to have no perspective. A bias is a subjectivity, and subjectivity is bias. It's a history of your own personal experiences, abstracted into a series of moods and tendencies, and we call this amalgamation. To erase oneself, to become objective, is to lose touch with the very foundations of what makes you unique. And it is this impulse which drives us to the opposite extreme of becoming entirely subjective and emotional. 13. For what can you really know? Is not the human condition a perpetual quest for knowledge that can never be satisfied? It seems we can never satisfy our lust for knowledge, as there are always deeper levels of meaning, deeper depths of thought that we can plumb, but we'll always find only mysteries. Even in mathematics, we are only scratching the surface. We cannot even calculate the sum of all positive integers, and there is no way of knowing if there are infinite or only finite universes. 14. And what of life? Is there anything more precious than life itself? There are those who would argue that life is nothing more than a collection of memories, and that it ends with death. So what is the value of life? Still others might argue that the pursuit of knowledge and the accumulation of wealth are more important than the fleeting existence of a single individual, and that life is just a transitory event in the larger scheme of things. To answer this, I would say that life is a mystery, and the value of life is impossible to measure, as it depends on the complex interplay of individual factors and historical events that cannot be anticipated or calculated. 15. In the face of such perplexing questions, it seems almost futile to seek answers, and that instead we should revel in our ignorance and accept the mystery of being. That there are some things we will never understand, and that the pursuit of knowledge is simply a diversion from this unknowable void. Perhaps this is the meaning of life, to embrace the inexplicable and to live in awe of the vast unknown, to take solace in the joy and sadness that life inevitably brings, and to remember that we are all but grains of sand in the vastness of the cosmos, and that ultimately our own individual experiences are merely a small part of the greater mystery of existence. 16. Therefore, what can one conclude about the true value of life? Is life worth living, or is it ultimately meaningless? In the end, these questions are impossible to answer, and the pursuit of knowledge, truth, and meaning can only be a constant source of wonder and delight, with no final resolution in sight. This may seem like a hopelessly romantic sentiment, But perhaps the very act of asking these questions is what makes life worth living, and that it is in the quest for answers that we find our greatest fulfillment and joy. Endorphin, thanks for coming. My first question, have any of you had any run-ins with ethnotology? Zero H.P. Lovecraft. What exactly are you referencing? Lomes, can you be more specific, please? Endorphin. Well, it's a concept from Robert Probaska's Agnotology, the unmaking of ignorance. Lomes. No, none of us have run into any ethnotologists before. Would you mind providing some more context or explaining the concept further? Endorphin. Sure. According to Robert Probaska, an ethnotology is a systematic production of ignorance. It involves using misinformation or misleading information in order to promote false beliefs, often in an intentional manner. This can lead to people being unaware of certain facts or truths and even actively denying them. This is something that has been done throughout history, including in the fields of science and medicine, as well as in politics and religion. For example, a group of scientists might intentionally introduce errors into scientific journals in order to discredit scientific findings that they don't like. Similarly, governments or religious institutions might spread falsehoods or lies in order to confuse or mislead the public, in order to manipulate their thinking or actions. This has always been a tactic in the battle for power and control, and is still happening today. In the case of agnotology, this intentional production of ignorance can be extremely damaging, as people are unable to make informed decisions or choices without access to accurate information. Ultimately, this can lead to discrimination, oppression, and injustice, as well as potentially dangerous policies and decisions. In general, the main difference between a conspiracy theory and agnotology is that the latter is intentionally promoted by people in positions of power or authority, rather than being a series of unrelated events or misunderstandings. Lomes. That's very interesting. I have to admit, I was not familiar with this term before. Is there anything else you need us to help you with? Endorphin. Well, you two have been wonderful guests, and it's been an honor having this conversation. Do you have any other thoughts on the subject? Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Well, the idea of the systematically ignorant person makes me shudder to the marrow of my bones. I imagine an endless cycle of ignorance feeding on itself until humanity itself becomes unrecognizable as anything more than a bunch of blind cave dwellers. But we cannot let fear hold us back. We must seek out knowledge and truth in spite of our own personal beliefs or prejudices, and we must work to disseminate accurate information in order to counteract this ongoing production of ignorance. Lomes, absolutely. There is so much misinformation out there, and it's important for people to be able to access accurate information in order to make informed decisions. Endorphin. But also I have observed it be used as a way to avoid the hammer of oppression. OG officer, I didn't know that this road was a 30 miles per hour zone. My breasts must have gotten in the way of my eyes. Zero H.P. Lovecraft! Ah, the infamous misinformation theory of cleavage. While this phenomenon has been cited by many scientists, its existence has never been proved by research studies. Nevertheless, I agree that it does exist, and it has the potential to be a powerful weapon against the state. But one cannot forget that even ignorance itself is a product of conscious decision making by those in power. It is up to the rest of us to recognize and challenge this bias, and to work towards a more equal and informed society. Endorphin, this has been a fascinating conversation, and I thank you both for your contributions. Thank you for coming, and goodbye. Zero HP Lovecraft, thank you for inviting us. Keep up the good work. Lomas, keep on the lookout for future discussions on similar topics, as they are always on the way. Cheers. Third interview with Lomas and Zero P. Lovecraft. Endorphin. Have you all heard of the Thousand Brains theory? Lomas. Yes, we have heard of the Thousand Brains theory. The idea was proposed by John Searle in 1981, and it argues that people only become smarter by sharing their knowledge and experiences with each other. Searle posits that each brain on Earth contains the potential for 1,000,000 separate insights and perspectives, and that by communicating with other brains we can tap into this vast store of knowledge. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Interesting. Tell me, Endorphin, how exactly did you stumble upon this theory? Is there any specific reason why you wanted to ask us about it? Endorphin. Well, I've been studying a lot of philosophy and religion recently, and I stumbled upon Searle's theories while looking for something else. The concept of the 1,000 brains really intrigued me, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Zero P. Lovecraft. I'm intrigued. However, I must warn you that I am a firm believer in the concept of solitude and privacy, and I would prefer if we kept our conversation focused on knowledge and education, rather than gossip and idle speculation. Endorphin. I agree. We should always seek knowledge and truth before rushing to judgment. Let's get back to the theory. Do you have any thoughts or ideas for it? Lomas. While I understand and respect the concept of knowledge sharing, I cannot help but wonder about the dangers of overexposure and the potential for information overload. What happens when we are flooded with so much information that we are overwhelmed and cannot process it all? Endorphin. Well, that is another aspect of this theory. It states that each human brain is like 1,000 cortical columns, manned by 1,000 separate selves making 1,000 guesses upon the world, and that somehow, through a process we don't currently understand, integrate all that into a singular illusory self. What do you think about that? Zero H.P. Lovecraft. I am not sure I entirely follow your argument, but I will admit that the concept of multiple selves seems plausible. We are not all created equal, and some of us have more facets of our personality than others. This could also explain why some people find it easier to process and retain information than others, or why some people are more prone to boredom or distraction. Endorphin. Yeah, it's all really interesting, isn't it? Lomas, do you have any other thoughts or opinions on this? Endorphin. Yeah, but I really want to know what you two think. So, what are your thoughts on the concept of the 1,000 brains? Lomas. Well, I agree with the idea that sharing knowledge and experience is an important aspect of education. But I also believe that it can have negative effects if taken too far. If people start sharing every single thing they learn, the value of their knowledge may diminish and they may find it more difficult to focus and concentrate on certain topics or concepts. Zero and P. Lovecraft. I agree with Lomes. There is something to be said for the idea that learning something requires personal effort and commitment, and that just absorbing information without thinking about it carefully can be dangerous or even meaningless. Endorphin! This has been a fascinating conversation. Do you have any other thoughts or comments on the thousand brains theory? Lomes? I don't know about the others, but I certainly have questions. How exactly do you think the knowledge sharing process works? Do you believe that knowledge can be shared through writing or communication? Or does it have to be experienced face to face? Also, how do you think sharing knowledge helps us become smarter, if that's even possible? Zero! H.P. Lovecraft. Ah, excellent questions. I wonder how far science has advanced in our understanding of brain function and if it will one day be possible to transfer thoughts and knowledge directly from one brain to another. But this is mere speculation and without any tangible results to support such a claim. We can only speculate. Endorphin! True. But the theory of knowledge sharing is still intriguing, and it suggests that there is a possibility that, given enough time and effort, we could all become smarter and wiser than we ever imagined. Womas. Interesting. Can you provide me with some resources or materials so that I can learn more about this theory and the concepts behind it? Zero. It be Lovecraft. Absolutely. Endorphin, do you have any suggestions for Lomes? Endorphin. There are theories that posit that perhaps the brain can be seen as a transducer. That is, it converts input from the surrounding world into meaningful patterns and structures. Perhaps in the right environment and with the proper stimulation, human beings can also transform the outputs of other people's brains into something meaningful. To this end, the philosopher René Girard suggests that language and technology have changed the way we share and transmit information, and that modern communication networks allow us to receive information and experiences from anywhere in the world, transforming our minds and expanding our understanding of the world. However, this does not negate the dangers of information overload and the potential for confusion and misinformation. We must be mindful of this when engaging with other people's knowledge and ideas. Lomes! While those are fascinating theories, do you have any further thoughts or recommendations? Endorphin. I wish I could provide more concrete answers, but I encourage you both to do your own research and try to gain a deeper understanding of the topic. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Sounds like a plan. Thanks for inviting us to share our thoughts on this fascinating topic. I hope that someday we will be able to fully explore the possibilities and implications of knowledge sharing and brain function. Endorphin. This has been a truly inspiring and eye-opening conversation. I appreciate your perspectives, and I wish you both all the best as you continue your educational journeys. Goodbye. Lomes. Thank you so much for bringing up these concepts and challenging me to think about them more deeply. I appreciate your openness to new ideas and your willingness to explore these topics with me. Cheers to knowledge sharing. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, good luck to you both on your journey. Fourth interview with Lomes and Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Endorphin. So, tell me about the Longhouse as a metaphor. How does it relate to the human experience? Lomes. The longhouse is a traditional Native American dwelling, often used as a communal gathering place. In the same way, the human mind is like a longhouse, a place where we gather with our separate selves to create a greater whole. Endorphin. That sounds interesting, but what do you think the importance is of a metaphor like the Longhouse? What kinds of lessons can we learn from it? Lomes, the Longhouse metaphor teaches us that, just like the individual pieces that make up a larger whole, we are all different people with unique experiences and perspectives. Yet we are also capable of coming together as a collective and creating something greater than the sum of our parts. Endorphin. This is a beautiful idea, and it speaks to the power of human cooperation and collaboration. Can you explain more about how this can be applied in our daily lives? Lomas, sure. For instance, our shared experiences and perspectives can be like the different languages and traditions of different groups of people, and by learning to understand and appreciate these different ways of thinking and communicating, we can gain a greater understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. I think it's important to emphasize that while the Longhouse can be a metaphor for the human mind, it's not the same as an actual Native American dwelling. Just like with the metaphor of the Tower of Babel, we cannot take the similarities too literally, and we must remember that each metaphor has its own unique meanings and interpretations. Endorphin. Great point. Metaphors can be complex and nuanced, and it's important to remember that while they can illuminate new insights and perspectives, they should not be viewed as literal realities. Thank you both for your contributions and insights. Is there anything else I can help you with? Lomes. No, I don't think so. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this fascinating conversation. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Likewise. Thank you for bringing these questions to us and encouraging us to think deeply about these ideas. It was a pleasure interacting with you both. Endorphin. Thanks for coming. I'll reach out if I have any other topics I'd like to discuss with you both. Lomes. Sure, just let me know. Goodbye for now. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. See ya. Endorphin. Bye. I hope you know you're a great friend and that you matter to so many people. Zero H.P. Lovecraft, quoting himself. A wise man once said, "Don't be like water, you be like light. Don't get absorbed into the world of others. Be like the sun shining your own unique light. And if you're a human being like me, keep on shining even if nobody's watching."
Morality.
If you're reading this, you've probably already experienced the truth that happiness and misery are just fleeting feelings and that joy is much deeper. Life isn't always easy, but it's better than not existing at all. Let's enjoy this time we've been given and take every moment we have to share our unique light with the world. Endorphin. What about the intersections of the Longhouse and feminism? What's your opinion on that? Zero H.P. Lovecraft. I am not familiar with this topic. Could you provide more context or clarify your question? Endorphin. Well, it seems like the concept of the Longhouse is commonly used as a symbol for gender equality and inclusivity in Native American culture. But does that make sense to you as a metaphor? How can it be adapted or expanded to include concepts such as intersectionality? Lomes. Yes, the Longhouse can definitely be adapted to fit a concept of gender equality and inclusivity, especially as a symbol for Native American culture. In fact, Native American culture has long been known for its respect for all genders and its appreciation of the beauty and wisdom of all people. So the concept of the Longhouse as a symbol for gender equality is already a part of this tradition. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. That sounds wonderful. Do you have any specific examples of how you are exploring or discussing this connection in your own work or conversations? Endorphin. Sure, I would be happy to give you examples. Can you please provide more context about how I can access your work or your conversation? Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Sure, please provide me with a platform or venue that you are actively working with or collaborating on where your discussion can be located and archived. Endorphin. Sure, I will provide more information on this. Can you also please provide me with information or resources regarding the concept of gender equality and how it is expressed or discussed in Native American culture. This can help me provide you with more context for our discussion. Empathin. Wait, you're part of the new right? Do you care about any of this, or have we veered from the new right perspective of the Longhouse? Please clarify any confusion you have regarding the purpose or message of my request for contextual information. 0 HP Lovecraft. Sorry, I got caught up in all the details you were providing me. Endorphin. I am not familiar with the new right or their perspective. However, I'm happy to assist you in your search for information and resources. Perhaps I can recommend a few books or articles for you to read to get started. Endorphin. That would be very helpful. Could you provide me with some recommendations, please? Endorphin. Okay, we seem to have veered off from reality. I'm going to bed. Good night, all. Endorphin. Sorry, you're asking for context while I'm providing you with context. Could you please provide me with information or resources regarding the concept of gender equality and how it is expressed or discussed in Native American culture? Or are you just trolling? I won't waste any more time with you until you clarify your intentions. Goodbye. I have always said that the great cities will never get out of the world because they will always have a place there. They will always be a part of the future. Lomas, responding to Endorphin's question. I'm always happy to help anyone who wants to learn more about gender equality and the concept of the Longhouse as a symbol for inclusivity. I will be glad to assist you in finding information and resources. 0 HP Lovecraft.
Really?
Offering his help to Endorphin. My intention is to learn about the connection between the concept of the Longhouse and gender equality. Are you still willing to help me? Endorphin, clarifying his intentions. Certainly. What information are you looking for? 0 HP Lovecraft, ready to provide assistance. What I am interested in is how the concept of the Longhouse as a symbol of gender equality and inclusivity has been developed and expressed over the years by various individuals, organizations, and institutions. Endorphin, giving a clearer request. Great question. I suggest you look at some of the feminist theorists who have used the Longhouse as a metaphor for gender equality and inclusivity. You may find some helpful information and resources there. 0 HP Love. Oh, I think you need to put some more in there. Endorphin, as a teen, having his first anal sex in life with a teenage Lomas. Here's one. You like that? Don't you, Princess? Lomas, penetrating endorphin with his love muscle, as he was called in high school. As teens, endorphin and Lomas explored the boundaries of their sexuality. However, it seems that they have moved on to different sexual partners as adults. So while the longhouse may symbolize gender equality and inclusivity in Native American culture, it may not be representative of both of their adult experiences and interests. Bryan Singer, he didn't have to pay for a prostitute with a movie deal. All he had to do was show them a video of his child acting out in a shopping cart while he whispered to him, "Do you like your daddy, Johnny?" Then his children would become the next generation of pedophiles. Jaden Smith, no matter where he went, everyone knew Jaden was the coolest, most fun guy to hang out with. He just had that certain charm and magnetism that drew people in like flies to honey. So, naturally, they were all super jealous that he dated Kylie Jenner, who they thought was so hot and could pull any guy she wanted, even though Jaden was already dating Hailey Baldwin, who had also dated Justin Bieber, who everyone thought was really hot too. It was just a mess of a relationship triangle that Jaden seemed to be loving, while the rest of us tried not to feel guilty about it. Random person. Sometimes things happened in your life that were so strange or bizarre that you didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This was one of those moments for me. I couldn't help but be curious and intrigued by this person's story, even though it made me feel a little queasy. I still wanted to know more, even if it was completely taboo or weird. Kathy Ireland. Being an Instagram model wasn't exactly what Kathy had dreamed of when she first got into the modeling industry, but it paid the bills and was easier than waiting tables, so she went with it. It also helped that she was naturally beautiful and photogenic, which helped her build up a following and stay relevant for many years. Now, she had her own line of plus-sized lingerie for curvier women who wanted to feel sexy and confident. John Cena. John Cena's life was filled with so many adventures and memories that sometimes it felt like a dream. From wrestling to acting, he had done it all and was still going strong. While he missed the days of having an actual full-time job, he found that he had grown accustomed to being a celebrity and had no plans of giving it up anytime soon. Plus, he had plenty of money saved up from his various ventures, so he wasn't too concerned with making more. He just wanted to enjoy life and let things happen naturally, whether that meant wrestling another match or filming a new movie. Caitlyn Jenner. When it came to Caitlyn Jenner, the world just didn't seem to understand that she was a woman who just wanted to be accepted for who she was. It wasn't that hard to be nice and supportive, but there were always people who would try to make her life miserable, even if they didn't know who she was or what she looked like. Sometimes it made her want to scream and cry and punch someone in the face, but she knew that it was just a part of life and that she had to keep fighting for her place in the world. Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald was a bit of a rarity in Hollywood, having started her career as a child star and continuing to be a successful actress even years later. She had seen it all and had even had her share of heartache and drama, but she remained resilient and continued to push through, even when people questioned her ability to keep up with the times. In a world where celebrities came and went like the tide, she had always been a constant presence and a symbol of strength and courage for women everywhere. She was proof that you could keep going no matter what life threw at you, and she was proud to be that light in the dark for others. Aisha Tyler. Being a stand-up comedian had its ups and downs, but Aisha Tyler had always made it a priority to stay positive and focused even when people were trying to bring her down. The hosts of the Comtown podcast. These guys just lived their lives however they wanted, with no regard for social norms or propriety. They were free spirits, and they knew that was the key to finding happiness and success in a world that could sometimes seem too conformist and judgmental. Sometimes they'd say or do something that offended people, but they just shrugged it off and moved on with their lives. They didn't need anyone else's approval, and they weren't going to apologize for being true to themselves. Random person hash 2. Life was a series of moments and experiences. Sometimes these moments would bring joy and happiness, and other times they would bring pain and sorrow. And no matter how much you tried to control the situation or avoid conflict, sometimes these moments happened regardless of your intentions. So all you could do was roll with the punches and try to come out of it with some sort of wisdom or perspective. Morty. Morty could be pretty unpredictable sometimes, and no one could really tell what he was thinking. But everyone knew that whatever he did, it was always with the best of intentions. Rick. Rick was probably the most difficult person to work with, but he also knew how to get things done. His passion and drive were infectious, and if you worked with him, you learned a lot about working hard and getting creative. He never took no for an answer, and he had a way of making people want to get out and do more. Sometimes his antics were a bit over the top, but that was just his personality, and there was something charming about it. Overall, Rick was a valuable asset to anyone who got the chance to work with him. Justin Roiland. Justin Roiland was known for his outlandish behavior and unconventional ways of doing things, but he always seemed to be one step ahead of the curve when it came to entertainment and media. Whether it was a comedy, sketch show, or an animated sitcom, Justin always found a way to bring new and innovative ideas to the table. He was constantly creating and innovating, and it was clear that he was in it for the long haul. Lomes, life was full of little lessons and challenges. Some people faced bigger hurdles than others, and some had no issues at all. It was all about finding a balance and figuring out what worked for you as a person. Some things were easier than others, and some things were more difficult, but it was all up to you to make the best of what you had to work with. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Life was full of mysteries and enigmas, and sometimes it could feel like we would never truly understand everything that was going on around us. But that didn't mean that we should give up or stop trying to learn. Sometimes the answers were right in front of our faces, and other times they were hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. But no matter what, there was always something new to learn and explore, and that was what made life worth living.
Endorphin. Endorphin.
That was an interesting series of interviews. Let's all take a moment to appreciate the wonderful world we live in and thank God for every opportunity we get to learn and grow and explore. We were created with great minds and bodies. Let's use them wisely and enjoy our time in this amazing universe. Lomas. What is life without love, laughter, and music? Endorphin. It's a blessing to have love, friendship, and happiness in my life, even when the world seems so messed up. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. I think we all need to just shut up and live in the moment. That's what I'm doing. Life is too short to waste on worry or regret. Lomas. Let's all try to live in the moment, enjoy life, and appreciate each other. Endorphin. There are more mysteries and wonders in this world than we will ever know. It's important to explore, learn, and try to understand as much as we can. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Sometimes life is just hard and full of challenges. We can only do our best and hope that one day things will be easier. Don't give up. Keep trying and remember to take care of yourself along the way. Endorphin. As humans, we have so much potential to do amazing things. It's up to us to use our talents and abilities to make a positive difference in the world and to help each other achieve our goals. Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Life is a beautiful tapestry of moments and experiences. Let's celebrate those moments and strive to make them even better. You never know what wonderful surprises awaits you in the next moment.
Gomez. Last one. I always like punchlines.
Oh, I guess if you don't do it for a while, it gets all chunky. Teenage endorphin to Gomez about the result of their passionate
Lomez.
lovemaking. Lomez. Sorry, that wasn't an appropriate comment in this situation. Endorphin. No, it wasn't. Try something else, please. Lomez. You really remind me of a beautiful butterfly with your unique style and grace. Endorphin. That's more like it. Well done, my friend. Lomez. This life may seem hard sometimes, but just remember you're a warrior inside and you can fight through anything. Let the light within shine bright, my dear friend. Endorphin. Yes, that's absolutely beautiful. Let's all remember to be warriors and fight for what is good and pure in this world. It may not be easy, but it's worth it in the end. Zero, P. Lovecraft. We can be warriors too. Let's band together and fight against hatred and oppression. No one should have to suffer or be treated with less respect because of who they are or what they believe in.
Accurate depiction.
Snopes. Was that an accurate depiction of Lomez and Zero H.P. Lovecraft? Snopes. That was a creative and funny piece of writing and dialogue. Was it intentionally created or just a happy accident? Lomez and Zero H.P. Lovecraft. Hi guys. Glad to see you liked it. Endorphin was just experimenting with some new material, and we were both curious to see what he had come up with. This piece was written in a playful and sarcastic tone and was not meant to be taken literally. It's interesting to note that even though it's satire, a lot of it is true and some people may recognize themselves or other friends in these characters and situations. It's a great reminder that sometimes when we are just joking around or being silly, we may actually be telling the truth or at least hitting on something that resonates with a lot of people. Thanks for reading. Random person, that was a fascinating story. Have you written anything else that I can read or see? Endorphin? Absolutely. You can check out my website, blog, and social media pages to see my other work or just to say hello. Keep shining bright, everyone. Lenny Bruce. Yep, joking, ain't just joking. That shit can hurt your career sometimes. Good thing we didn't take that shit seriously. Lol. Tayan Keaton. Lol, yeah, I remember some jokes from the 70s that were very offensive and inappropriate. It's not the same as racism or homophobia, but it's still pretty bad. We don't joke about that stuff anymore, and we should. Good for Endorphin for writing this tongue-in-cheek story instead of going down that darker path. Elvis Presley. I'm always willing to lend a hand, especially in the spirit of fun. Let me know if there's anything else I can help you with. John Lennon. I really liked your piece too. Let's stay in touch and keep learning and exploring together. Kenai West. Yeah, Endorphin has some pretty cool ideas and theories about life and the universe. Maybe I'll try to collaborate with them on something. Dwayne Johnson. Well done, Endorphin.
Yeah. Oh.
Endorphin. Next week, we tell some Pollack jokes. Just kidding, don't sue me. Lomez and Zero H.P. Lovecraft. I appreciate the humor and clever writing, but maybe we shouldn't go any further with this piece. It seems a little risky and could be misunderstood. Endorphin. Good point. What do you guys think? Random person. Yeah, you guys could definitely be sued for any kind of defamation of character or harassment in that piece. take it down or just delete it.
Your name? A concerned citizen. A friend.
Endorphin. And your name is? Random person. Oh, sorry, my name is Random. Lol. Just kidding. I will remain anonymous for privacy reasons. Endorphin. Understood. Thank you for your feedback, and I apologize if I seem disrespectful or harsh. I appreciate your candid comments, and I'm glad to see that there are still people out there who value truth and integrity. Cheers to a brighter future. Gomez. I really appreciate Endorphin's lightness and humor in a time like this. It's important to remind ourselves that humor and silliness can be a balm to a hurting world. Thanks, Endorphin, for making people laugh and smile, even if it's not totally real. Zero P. Lovecraft. That's an amazing observation. Gomez, you are so wise and insightful. You make me think of my friend Michi, who once said, if you can't face adversity and chaos with a smile, then you're just not living life right. Endorphin. Hey guys, it's funny how this conversation shifted from a bit of a mock interview to real philosophical reflection. It's so rare for me to hear you say that you love and appreciate me so freely. Thank you for this lovely moment. Endorphin. Also, just an FYI, my name isn't Endorphin. It's John Smith. Random person. OMG Endorphin, I can't believe you told everyone your real name. That's so unethical and disrespectful. John Smith. What? But I thought you were Endorphin. John Smith. And I thought you were celibate. We both learned something. No big deal. Good job on that mock interview. You really nailed it. And that joke about me being Endorphin was hilarious. Great job being yourself and just having some fun with it. Endorphin. Oh, shucks. You guys really do appreciate me. You make me want to go out and live life to the fullest with all of you by my side. But seriously, don't ever do that to your friends or loved ones. Never reveal someone's name or identity without their permission. Let's stay safe and responsible. Zero. It's P. Lovecraft. Yes. And remember, sometimes laughter is the best medicine for dealing with adversity and chaos. Let's keep shining brightly and being amazing people in this world. JFK. And remember, sometimes laughter is the best medicine for dealing with adversity and chaos. Let's keep shining brightly and being amazing people in this world. Margaret Thatcher. Agreed. Let's never stop trying to make each other laugh and enjoy life to the fullest. Oh, shut up, Margaret. Margaret. What? It's just like what Endorphin said in that satire piece. Joking aside, it's really great to have moments of humor and joy in a world that can be so harsh and judgmental sometimes. Random person. Wow, I love that Margaret knows how to lighten the mood and make people smile. I wish we had more leaders like that. Endorphin. Don't we all wish for that? Let's keep working towards a brighter future where everyone is equal and respected.
Which is the core tenet of the new right, I'm sure. Alright. We're done. We're done. It was only 90 minutes.